Okay, so the QHY Minicam8, it's an excellent camera. I've reviewed it on the channel. I keep using it. It's really like one of the best ways to get into monochrome astrophotography because this camera has my favorite sensor on the market. It's the IMX585. It has a color version and a monochrome version, but I'm using the monochrome version. And within this tiny body, there is a filter wheel with 8 possible filters. I have a dark filter, so I can take dark frames, luminance, red, green, blue, sulfur 2, H-alpha, oxygen 3. So you have everything. And all of that is in one package, including the filters, including the filter wheels, including everything. And it is overall absolutely amazing. It's an awesome little package to get started or even to progress. I'm using this all the time. But one of the weaknesses that I had mentioned is that despite having only 17.5 millimeters of back focus from flange to sensor, that includes the filter wheel. Normally you'd be at like 38.5 millimeters or something like that once you take the filter wheel into account. This is really like lowering the amount of back focus that is being used. It came with an adapter that went from this C-mount there, this really tiny hole that's just large enough for the sensor, to M48 adapter so that you could plug it into like your coma corrector, focal reducer, etc., etc. And that meant that you had like the whole adapter, and it was made to be 55 millimeters of back focus. If you wanted to put anything between the camera and the telescope, well, you had to do something else. And what would normally come between the camera and the telescope? An off-axis guider, for instance. And that's something that was not really possible with this camera. But now something is possible. Well, even before that, something was possible. I bought on Amazon a C to M42 adapter that I used an old M42 to M42 15 millimeter spacer. Fun fact, I got that with one of my very first telescopes I bought from Meade, like 13, 14, no, actually more. Yeah, almost 15 years ago. And then I had the M42 adapter for the ZW off-axis guider, and that gave me, together with the camera, just the 55 millimeters of back focus. It was perfect, but it is definitely like kind of a clutch adapter type of thing, right? So it was possible, but it required a little bit of effort. But fear not, now QHY came with an off-axis guider that is compatible with the QHY Minicam8 and gives you, with the adapters in the box, your 55 millimeters of back focus. So now finally you can have the camera, the filter wheel, and the off-axis guider all nicely put together with the off-axis guider and connected to your telescope. Beautiful. So how does this work? How does it look like? How well does it work? So first things first, the price. It's around 160 US dollars. So it's not cheap, but it's an off-axis guider. And if I pop out the prism, you can see that we have a massive prism there. I would say the prism in and of itself could support another IMX585 sensor on the top, or something like an 174mm camera, which is great for like Schmidt-Cassegrain or long focal length type of telescopes. By the way, when you receive the camera, I didn't realize that at first, but the prism has a tiny little plastic film on top of it that is there to protect it. You need to remove it before using the camera. Then we have the typical like helical focuser, right? You can move the focus of the camera without rotating anything else. So that works, that seems to work really well. And at the very top of the camera, it came with thumb screws, and you can have 3 thumb screws at once to make sure that the camera is really well and stable within the tube there, so that you cannot have any false detection of movement of star that is only due to the camera waving around. The focus also has a lock there, so we can lock the focus when we need. And we have, of course, this thumb screw there to adjust the height of the prism as we like, together with a grub screw on the opposite side. So we really have the off-axis guider, very large prism. I really appreciate that. A nice helical focuser with lock, 3 thumb screws to lock the camera in place, and a screw to keep in place the prism at whatever position we like. Up to now, really good, no problem at all. Now, on top of that, I was a bit confused when I first received this because it came with this. This is the adapter, the C adapter, to the camera side. So that is here the C mount, and then you have this weird backside with holes in it. And there was no obvious way for me to put it on the off-axis guider, like, oh, no, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. Well, you have to do it from the inside. So to do that, you first need to push the prism all the way up. So just release, use gravity. Don't push it with your hand so that you don't leave any marks, but use gravity to push it downwards, lock the position, and in there, you can fit that within the off-axis guider, right? So now we have this area here with the four weird holes in there. And at that point, we're able to screw things into the camera. So I take my camera, I take the off-axis guider with the little adapter that I put in it, and I match them together. And then I used another tool that is provided with the QHY off-axis guider for the Minicam 8, that thing. And how it works is that I can fit it into the holes there to rotate this and screw that into the Minicam 8. So you can absolutely do the start of screwing this in. So you can absolutely do the start of screwing this in by hand, but afterwards, just use this to finish the job. Here we go. And of course, before I tighten fully, I need to make sure that the off-axis guider is at a nice angle, exactly as we would need in relationship to the camera. And I can fully tighten, and now it is fully tightened, and we have the off-axis guider attached to the Minicam 8. And then I can drop the prism again, pop, drop the prism, and because we're using such a small sensor, for once we don't really need to care about how deep the prism can go. We can just drop it down to the full length, and we still have ample space between the prism and the actual camera sensor. But just to be safe, because I have like very fast optics at f3.8, I'm raising it a little bit so that I have a bit more clearance, but this should be perfectly fine. Again, I love that this prism is so large. So now we have this. The camera also came, the off-axis guider also came with this little adapter here, which happens to be about 16.5 millimeters of optical depth. And it's just screwing it into the off-axis guider. And then you're ready. You have your 55 millimeters of back focus from here to the camera sensor. You have your off-axis guider. Everything's ready. I can take my comma corrector, because I'm using this with a Newtonian, screw that in. This is M48. And then next to me, I have my trusty Newtonian telescope here, so I can just put that in. Here we go. Looking great. So I have my whole camera, the off-axis guider, and I'll put my guide camera, which for today will be an ASI 220 Mini. So the sensor on this guy is really tiny, so it doesn't make full use of the prism, but that's what I have, and that's what I'm going to use. And I have it really nicely nested here. It will not move a millimeter or even portions of a millimeter because it has this pressure from the 3 screws on all sides. I can plug things in, and we are all ready to go. So the QHY off-axis guider, the Minicam 8, everything is so cute and nice together. I'm sorry that I do not have a QHY camera to put in there. Maybe I should have used a Taupe Tech camera just to keep with the blue theme that we have going on. But with that, we should be fully ready to go ahead and test that at night. I honestly don't expect anything different than any other off-axis guider. So I'll let you know how well it works. But overall, and of course, I'll have the links down in the description if you're interested. By the way, if you're going there, don't forget to like the video. It really helps the channel out. Let us know down in the comments how you've been using your QHY Minicam 8. Did you hack a system like I did here, or were you impatiently waiting for this off-axis guider to come by, or were you simply using a guide scope like old-fashioned? Let us know down in the comments. If you have anything else to say about this, let us know. The links will be in the description. And if you want to help support the channel even more and you're planning on buying anything from Amazon, Agena, High Point Scientific, First Light Optics, etc., if you do so, after clicking one of the links I have down in the description, it will help me out at no cost to you. And if you want to help even more and you want to sponsor this channel directly, make all of these videos possible, you can become a channel member. It's the join button next to the subscribe button, or a Patreon supporter. And some of my Patreons have access to my videos early and without ads. And you guys, channel members, Patreon members, you know it. Without you, without your help, without your support, this channel would not be possible. So thank you so much. Okay, with that, let's wait until the night and test it out, see if I see any issues, and report back. See you then. Okay, so we're at night, and how well is it performing? Well, to be honest, in terms of actual setup, it was pretty much immediate. So I just made sure that the main telescope was in focus, as usual, right, with my luminance filter. And all of the filters that I have in the filter wheel of the Minicam8, just as yours, are parfocal, like very close to parfocal to one another. So when we switch filters, it will not switch the focus on the guide camera, and I've tested that. It doesn't switch the focus at all. And to me, it's like I have the camera fully in the focuser tube, because that way, you know, I have a good reference point. And I have it fully locked with the 3 thumb screws. And the focus itself was actually quite smooth, like being able to go from slightly out of focus to perfectly in focus. When it comes to off-axis guiders, very often you can like go past the point of best focus and then you need to come back. At least that's been the case to me to some extent with the Toptech off-axis guider and with the ZW off-axis guider. It's not a big deal, it's very easy to deal with. But this one, it feels like, you know, one rotation is it might be completely wrong, this is subjective, but it does feel like moving by small increments really lets you control the focus quite precisely. And to me, getting like perfect focus on my guide stars with PhD2, it took like 2 minutes maybe, and it worked without issues. And afterwards, I mean, I've been guiding. There's a lot of wind today, so it's not guiding perfectly well, but the moments when there's no wind, it's guiding as usual with my usual like 0.7 arc seconds in terms of total RMS, like nothing to signal. Even if I'm doing this, let's see, I'm like trying to shake the camera a little bit with my finger. Let's see what happens to my guiding. Yeah, it goes off by 4 arc seconds before going back to center. So it seems to be quite stable. And I don't think there's much more to say about it. You get an off-axis guider that works out of the box with the QHY Minicam8, which I know a lot of people have been waiting for. It has this roughly 16, 17 millimeter long in terms of optical path adapter to M48, so that you can still get your perfect 55 millimeters back focus. And if you want to use something there instead of 16 millimeters of just a longer thing, you could have another piece of equipment in the middle. I don't know what that would be. I don't think that there's any rotator that would just fit in the gap there without hitting the camera holder there. But yeah, that way you have the back focus available to do something else, whatever you'd like. And I think it's really nice. And yeah, so it's guiding, you see. It's working fine. And I don't think there's much more to say about it. To me, as far as I can tell, the price is right. The installation procedure, while there was no documentation that came with it, once you get the hang of it, it's fairly straightforward. You just need to make sure, like I would recommend keeping the plastic film on the prism until you have connected the OAG to the camera. That way you don't have a piece of metal, like this little kind of U shape of metal that's right next to your prism as you're screwing things in. But after that, just remove the plastic film. It's very intuitive. Yeah, intuitive, price is right. The prism is huge. The focuser is good. Locking the focuser as well is very good. And it does not disturb the focus on it. And you get all of the thumb screws you need here, those 3 thumb screws to really keep the guide cam in place. I don't know what else to ask. It seems to be like if you have a Minicam8 and you're looking for an off-axis guider, you have a telescope that requires one because it's a very long focal length or it has a mirror that can flop, here is your answer. I mean, even for a Schmidt-Cassegrain, it can be a good answer simply because it has such a large prism, so you can probably get by with a 174 mm sensor, which is great for Schmidt-Cassegrains as it allows you to get more field of view on your guide camera to get some good guide stars. So here we are. Overall, no notes. It's a solid off-axis guider. It is the only out-of-the-box solution for the Minicam 8. It pairs very well with it. And that's it. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Would you buy this? Have you been looking for an off-axis guider for the Minicam 8? Let us know. Like the video while you're at it. And if you're planning on buying anything and you want to support the channel, if you use one of the links in the description, it will help me out at no cost to you. And if you want to help me even more, you can join my Patreon. The link is down in the description, or don't join the channel as a member. You guys, you make everything possible as always. With that, it was a short video, simple topic. Hope it's useful. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, whenever you can, to look up at the stars, and I'll see you next time.